Hi, this is Juha from NouxNode, and this video is about NouxCloud release notes January 23. Here are the contents, and as you can see we have quite a lot of stuff to go through, so let us begin. Let's first go through new cloud features, starting with table panel, sort, filter and export features. If I will go to dashboard where we already have a table panel like this one here, for example, let's make it a bit bigger. It is now possible to sort these by any column that we have here, like this. Sort and also filter by using this one. So let's take a look at, for example, B. So it will show only this one then. And then we also have export function. If I click here, I can export this as CSV file. Okay. And then we have panels, send back or bring the front features. This is about advanced data visualization. Let me jump to another dashboard here. Perhaps you have seen this from our previous videos. I have here multiple panels on top of each other. We can basically create different kind of or multiple layers here. For example, this one, this is the background image. It's now in the back, but I can bring it to front. As you can see, all these others are hidden. They are there. They are just behind this panel, and I can also send it to back. This is the way you can control that. What is the what layer are we on, and what image is on top of another image. Dynamic panel visibility. This is again about advanced data visualization. Let's take, for example, this panel here and go editing it. We have here panel visibility tab, and here we can, if I enable this I can add conditions. For example, so that show this value only, or let me correct, hide this value with certain condition. For example, if I now put that this is larger or equal to 0, then hide it, and I will save this. And as you can see, it's not here anymore because the number was bigger than 0. This will now create a challenge, that how do you know that it's been hidden, or if you need to get back to that panel, how can you do that? For that reason, under settings, we have here this show hidden panels. If I enable this one, you can see it came back. And then I can go back here and edit it so that this doesn't. I'll remove this one. The use case for this is that let's assume that we have a location with 10 machines, and you create a dashboard that's showing sort of generic views of so something from each machine. You have 10 panels, for example, and then if you have identical machines in another location, you can use installed base filter and go to that location. But let's assume that there we have only 5 machines. What would happen in this case is that in 10 machines locations you have 10 panels, and then you go to that 5 machine location and you still have 10 panels, but 5 of them will say that no data. So with this feature it is possible to make it so that hide if it says no data. If this is enabled to those panels, then what will happen is that you, from this 10 machine location dashboard, jump to that 5 machine location, it will only have 5 panels there, and then go back to 10 panel dashboard and then or 10 machine dashboard, then you will have again these 10. That is the use case behind this feature. Last data fetch feature. This is a bit tricky. Let's see if I can explain it. As you can see, let's select like last 6 hours. If I go edit this graph panel, as you can see here, this is data with the polling interval 1 minute. So we basically have a data point for each minute. But if you take a look at these figures in my when I'm hovering this cursor, you can see that they are not by each minute equally, and that is because of the component we are using. This is optimizing the graph so that it makes some sense, because if you take a long time range and a very dense interval, there would be very many data points. They would be so dense that it makes it difficult to read. Normally it's optimizing this like this, but we have added a feature under settings here that can enable this use last data, and it will always then take the data points. It will overwrite the other groupings that we have, and now you can see that it's each minute equally here as it actually measured. But then again, you see that this time range is now a bit different, because here we can decide that how many data points we would like to have, and the reason is that again it might go a bit confusing if we have a lot of data points here. That's why we have this option here. Okay, let me close this one. And then report time span. We have now added, we have reports section here. We can create these reports, and we can go back to them. And previously you couldn't see the time span that we had. Now you can see it's clearly visible here. Okay. Then we have this hide side menu option, and how it is used. It's under settings and under role. As you remember, each user has a role, and here we can hide the side menu altogether. But please be very careful when you use this, because if you only have one role and you hide it from that role, what will happen that you lose this menu and you cannot access it anymore to enable the menu. That is the reason why we have under root role, it's not even possible to hide the menu. But with other users it is possible, but please be very careful. The use case behind this one is that sometimes, especially if you have end users here in the NouxCloud, you want to hide all this other stuff. Basically all they have to see is the dashboard or other dashboards. And like it says here, when you enable this, menu will be hidden, and then under users you have defined a start page, and it will always jump to that user will always jump to that start page then, and if it's not given or is empty, then dashboard will be shown. But this way you can build it so that your users will only see dashboards, nothing else here, and you don't have to control menu by menu that what they see and what not. But like said, please be careful, and if you make a small mistake and hide the menu, then your user with root access can return it for you. Okay. Then we have post query conditions. This is again a bit tricky. Let's see if I have understood it myself and I can explain it to you. I will now go to dashboards and select, for example, this panel. As you know, we have conditions here, meaning that we take for example, this value, this variable value only if something else is whatever these conditions say. We have added here this post query option. And what does this mean? Normally it's like this, that these queries are already done on database. It's efficient, it is neat way of doing stuff, it's fast, and only the results are shown here. But the problem with this approach, let me share one slide. Let us assume that we have a situation where we have this kind of 5 data points. This is a Boolean variable, a couple of trues, a couple of falses. And now if we assume that we need to calculate the amount of true in this table, and basically it means that function is count that we are using, and then condition is that this variable value needs to be true. Now what will happen with the basic query is that it will already do this calculation within the query. So what basically happens is that we take these 5 values and then we apply this function, and we basically get number 5 because it has 5 values, and that is the result of the count function. And then when we go to we try to apply this condition. So basically we are asking that how many true values we have in number 5. The end result will be no data. And this is because this already happens in the query. This happens first, and then we try to apply the condition, and the end result is no data. That's why we have added this possibility workaround. So if we enable this post query, what this will do, it will not do any calculation within the query, but this will return table as is, and then it will apply the condition. So we only get the true ones, and then if we take a count of how many true ones we have, we get number 3. And as you can see, that is the correct amount of trues here, and that is the result it will return. This dashed line here is trying to picture, let's call it a query threshold. So how does this normally work, and where these are applied, and by selecting this post query condition, you can move this threshold to so that it will not do anything within this query, but it will apply these functions and conditions to data that has been received from the database, and does this on panel side. This is it's very specific and case by case what functions you are using. This is now one example that where it will work like this, but you need to be careful and think what is happening with certain functions and certain conditions if you are using them, and then need to decide that which case is it. Is it the normal query, or do you have to apply these conditions post query, so to speak. Okay. Back to the contents, and that was basically all we had. New cloud features. Let's jump to new edge features. Host app root manager, you probably remember our host app. It's normally all configurations to the edge device can be done, or to the edge can be done in NouxCloud, but in some cases, especially troubleshooting, we need to use this host app, meaning that we do that locally with the machine or the edge device, these settings. So there is now an added feature that we can use. We can route IPs. So root manager is there now. Modbus write, we have enabled to Modbus protocol also the write options when it previously was only read. And then we have watch table read interval. This is very, if I go back to, let us close this one. Let's go to data sources and gateways. This is very Siemens protocol specific here you can see Siemens users know what the watch table is. Uh, Now it is possible to add that watch table and also the interval, because it might be that it doesn't have to be read very very often. It has been added, this reading interval or polling interval here. And then we have this node bind as alert. What does this mean? It means, let's take another protocol. Here, for example, the use case might be that you don't need the actual variable and its value, you only need the alert. Then, so far, there have been several ways of creating those alerts in NouxCloud, either directly here in the node menu, or then by using Dataflow. But with this development, we can now create the alarm and take only that alarm. So first we define the variable, and then we give the alarm conditions here. This way we only get the alarms. If you need both, you need that variable and you need alarm, then you need to have two separate tags. One with this alarm enabled and one disabled. But like said, this is created for the cases where you don't need that variable, you only need the alert. Those were the new most important edge features. And then we have some general improvements. Starting with matrix panel, let me go back to dashboard. We can add we have a table panel type, but then we also have this matrix panel type. This is a, let's say, not so often used. You can add rows and columns here freely as much as you like, and then here you can select that is it only static text, or is it a values and numbers calculations from a certain time series. And the improvements what we have is that you can also enable here now the postmaster expressions and conditions, if you like. And then it is possible, now it says no data, it is possible to resize font here. This will apply to all these cells that you have added. It is possible now to edit these. Then we have this time range, previous and next, let's say, improvement. This was already in the previous releases that we now have. Let's take yesterday, for example. We have this previous and next. Now that I have one full day here, I can jump back this same interval. Before, this was so that each time I clicked this, it automatically updated these views and closed down this time range selector. So the problem is that even if I have this one day now, what happens if I have to go 3 or 4 days back? So I would have to four times click this one, that okay, previous, and then again open this time range selector and once more previous, and so forth. So it was kind of a loop. So now I can click it multiple times, and when I have the date I want to see, I can click this apply, and then it will show it. Okay. Graph panel y-axis auto settings, there have been some improvements there. It's especially if we have this kind of panel that has a big number, that let's say big starting number in this time range, and then only small amount of increases, as you can see here, that it really hasn't risen many pieces, this part counter, but still it will look something like this. And the use case is, and under settings here we have the auto ones. The use case here is that if it starts from, let's say, 0, it's quite it's not very it's not telling very well that what's actually happening. As you can see that there has been this increases, but still it shows like nothing has happened. So there has been an improvement that if we use this auto setting, it will automatically make it so that it will actually look like something is happening. It will adjust better to these big numbers. Okay. Then we have some link button improvements. Let me again change dashboard. Yeah. In this dashboard, I have link buttons here, for example. The improvements are that you can change the background color. Just select something here. Make them appear different. You can use this line break option, meaning that this will control that is there a line break after this button. And then we have this. You can adjust the width. Otherwise, if you don't put anything there, it will auto adjust whatever you write here. But with this kind of options, you can make it look cooler. Okay. All right. Then we have this data filter drop-down multi-select feature. Let's jump to a dashboard where we have. Let's take a bigger span. Sorry. Let's take even longer. Here we have this data filter. As you remember, it works like this: that you can take a certain variable and then filter other data based on this one. We have added now, if you put this to drop down, it was the drop down was here earlier, but if you change it like this one, like this, and then we have this multi-select option, so it is possible to select multiple instead of just one at a time. All right, that is the multi-select feature. Then the rest of these are about alerts. Actually, let's start with this alert operators. Like I mentioned before, there are multiple ways of creating alerts. One is here. If we open this node, and then we have here alarm limits, and here we have that the options, the conditions, that what is triggering the alert. And previously we only had this outside and between, and those are good functions, but perhaps we need more, and not always the most clear ones. So now we have these ones also here, that something is equal or smaller and larger than. So those operators have been added. And then the rest of those new features are about these sources and data flow, how to bind that to a node also. Let me go to a data flow. I have here a example alert block. Basically, this is just nonsense, but this will create an alert, and in this alert block I have added a node that is going to be affected by this alert. Let me run this once. You can see that this is now true, so it will create an alert. And if I go now to alert list, here I can see that it started this kind of example alert. And here you can see the source. It's coming from a data flow instead of node, and this is also telling which node it is. This is not telling it, but it's because it's such an old alert. I showed you just behind this node. It's missing there. So that is not something to be concerned of, but the new ones that you create will have this source and node. And then we have also added this node filter here. We only have two alerts here. Let's take a look at the history. So here we have multiple alerts, and if you want to see all that are about this Kurkelan Kone Espoo machine, let me start writing that node, and if I select that one, it's filtering only those ones. You can see now only those ones. Okay, that's basically all we had this time. Um, Thank you for watching.